Welcome to the Johnny Cleveland podcast. And we have a very special guest all the way over in London, I believe, England, Paul Brown. Hello, Paul.
How are you, John? I'm just having a drink.
Okay.
Are you a Buffalo Trace fan?
No.
Right, that's the end
I've
of the
got
show.
my Diet Coke here, but
A lot of you Americans don't like when I do this. I put Coke on top of bourbon, but there we go.
there you go. There you go. Well,
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming on our show. And, you know, we've got the Browns and the Chiefs have a huge game tomorrow. And I've had a chance to listen to a few of your podcasts, the one that you had most recently this last week. And you and your group there went through the big Browns Steelers win. There you go. Excellent. Let me know how it tastes.
We're going to have
Smooth. No. Well,
that's heaven in a glass.
so
Wow.
now what time is it over there right
It's
now?
about 8 o'clock, I think.
About 8 o'clock. Very
yeah.
good.
I think the Packers are playing in a minute, aren't they?
Yes, they are. I believe so. That's what I was hoping to get you on prior to the kickoff of all the NFL games. So this is fantastic. I've had an opportunity. I don't know if you want to give a little background, but you know, I have followed you on social medias platforms, Twitter and Instagram, and you do a remarkable job. You're just such a diehard fan. I just love it, and the way that you engage with the fans and the people over there in England as well. I think just think it's just awesome. So, so your name, Paul Brown, you know, Paul Brown's the owner of or the founder of the Browns. It's a great name to have.
Yeah, so you can't complain with a name like Paul Brown, especially when you're a Browns fan. But where it all started was probably 15, 20 years ago. I was buying clothes with just Browns on it.
Yes.
And
yes.
I didn't know if it was football. I knew it was American. I didn't know if it was hockey, NBA, football, or anything. So I was just buying Brown stuff. I could have bought Raiders stuff because Raiders stuff looks quite it looks quite cool though. If you know nothing about sport, it looks quite cool.
Right,
but I went, no, I think it'd be cool if I buy a hat with my name on it, like Browns. So yeah, so that's where it all started. And
were they having games over in London yet? I mean, were they having NFL games? Was it 15, 20 years ago? I know you've attended some of those.
Yeah, so I wasn't a fan of the NFL at all. So but I believe 25 years they've been having games over in America, in England.
Yeah.
And we started.
Have you attended some of those games? Like, have the Browns have been over there, right?
Yeah, I've seen the Browns game here in London. Yeah, it's a very proud thing to see the Browns playing in London.
Yes, but
it's not the same as watching it in America.
Oh yes, and now you've been over here a few times. I saw some TV piece that's on one of the local channels up in Cleveland that had mentioned that you had made several trips at one point. But how many times have you been to a Browns game here in Cleveland?
Yeah, I went to 9 games last year.
Okay.
Normally, I try and go to the away games. So the away games, the away games are normally easier for me to fly in. So I'm always looking for direct flights.
Okay.
The only one issue with Cleveland is there's no direct flights to London.
Yes. So
I
bet when you were going like with the Dallas game this early on in the year, I bet you really wanted to be there.
Yeah. So Dallas was this year. The games I was going to go to were Nashville, Dallas, Jacksonville, New York, and Cleveland once. That was what I was aiming for. Yeah.
So how do you feel? I mean, this year has just been crazy. I mean, great. I mean, as a diehard fan myself, you know, all these years. Now, I don't live over in England, but I did live in Kansas, in the middle of the country for 26 years. I grew up back here. I actually just did a piece. I write for this website called clevesportstalk.com. And I just gave a shout out to all those fans out there in the middle of Kansas that are diehard Browns fans, kind of like you are out there and over there across the pond. And I just think it's just awesome. And what we're experiencing right now is just tremendous. I don't know. You said you followed the team for 15 or 20 years, so that they haven't been very, very good.
Yeah, obviously since I've been supporting the Browns, it's been 1-15, 0-16.
Torture.
Yeah, below 500 normally. So, and I remember the kick around Christmas time when against the Chargers or Rams, LA team, I think it was.
Oh, when they won the one game during the season.
Mender stopped it. Kick. He blocked the kick around Christmas time, so it stopped us going 0-6.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember them days, and then obviously, 0-16, and it's been awful. But yeah, it's great. 11-5, one playoff win.
Yes, and beating Pittsburgh the last 2 weekends has been just such a blessing. I'm so tired of listening to those crybaby Steeler fans and the players like Claypool talking about how the Browns are going to get clapped and everything this weekend against the Chiefs. So
it's a shame we can't play the Steelers every weekend. Do you know what I mean?
I think the Steeler fans might be a little nervous these days. Unfortunately I live in Columbus, Ohio, so I'm a little bit just south of Cleveland. But we have being in Columbus, you're kind of halfway to Cleveland, halfway to Cincinnati, halfway to Pittsburgh. So there are a lot of Pittsburgh Steeler fans actually, and I work with several of them. So
because Columbus, I went down there to watch an Ohio State game.
Yes,
and lovely city, and
yeah. So I'm sure you're going to make plans to come back out as soon as the pandemic and the U.S. allows you back in the country. And next year is just going to be just great for the Browns, I think. I mean, they've just got such a talented roster. I love Coach Kevin Stefanski. I've written a little bit about him, and I just think that he came in at the right time. He's cool, calm, and collected. I like to call him Steady Eddie. He just has a really solid demeanor, and it's been working well with Baker. But I wanted your take on that, just like overall, what you think of Stefanski and the team and how they've kind of gelled. They kind of had almost the same roster as last year, but they got the new coach.
Yeah, so obviously Hugh Jackson. I wanted Hugh Jackson. I wanted Freddie Kitchen.
So, yeah. I think a lot of us did. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm always honest with my takes. I'll say how it is. I wanted them to as managers. So when it came to picking our next manager, I decided I'm not going to have an opinion. I'm just going to go with the flow and see what happens. And I'm really pleasantly surprised. I think the thing I like about Kevin is he's had all them years with the Vikings.
Yes.
As an OC.
Yeah.
He started off as nobody and worked his way up.
Were you panicked a little bit after week one when the Browns got beat up pretty bad by Baltimore in that first week? No. Okay.
No. We had 15 more games.
True.
Relax. It's the first game they played together. So, but yeah, I was. I'm pleasantly surprised at where we are now.
Yeah.
Really interesting what we're going to do next year, because there's going to be just the same as last year. There's going to be a lot of pressure on us next year. So
yeah,
we've come really under the radar. There wasn't much talk about us pre-season.
So why don't we just win the Super Bowl this year, right?
Well,
why not?
If we're talking Super Bowl, I'm not talking about jinxing it. We're only 2 wins away from a Super Bowl.
We are. Yes. Now, do you have any sneaking suspicions or things or rituals that you do before a Browns game or just so that they win? I mean, do you have any special things that you like I've been wearing Browns gear every day for the last 2 weeks.
I wear the pants.
That's right.
The jacket.
Yes.
And another hat. And that's it. I'm not too superstitious.
Yes.
I believe there's hundreds, thousands, millions of Browns fans.
Yes.
And we can't all wear the same gear and get it right,
So last week, I listened to part of your podcast when you talked after the game with the Steeler victory. How were you feeling throughout the game? I was totally just off the charts. I was screaming, yelling, running around the house here. That first quarter was just tremendous. But how did you kind of handle all that? Were you a little nervous after we got off to that great start, or
28-0?
Yes.
First quarter. Hang on a minute. Against the Steelers with no manager coach,
right.
And we're away in Heinz Field.
Yes.
Like I tweeted, "Am I dreaming?"
Right.
28-0 against the Steelers. Full Big Ben's playing. Everyone's there. Wow.
Yes.
That was an incredible moment. That's where you have to pinch yourself.
Yes.
First quarter, 28-0. But I've always got this game in my head. And until you get to half time, if you're winning 10-0 or 35-0 in American football, the other team can do it the second half. Exactly.
I mean, going back to the Tennessee game, we had, and even the Dallas game, both those games, we had similar good success and kind of held our collective breath, especially in that Dallas game when they had I think they had a couple tried to get the ball back there very late, but I think Odell was still playing with us, and he had that tremendous run before he got injured against Cincinnati. So,
but the third quarter was squeaky bum time because
yes.
They were scoring within a minute and a half.
Yes.
Then you start doing the maths.
Right.
There's 30 minutes here to play.
That clock was not moving fast enough.
Yeah, and if they're on the field for a minute and a half, we're on a minute for a minute and a half.
Yes,
they could theoretically score 5.
Right, so, right. Well,
yeah,
I think I was very impressed. The fact that Stefanski was not there, what the Browns players and their coaches did with him being in the basement at his house, I think speaks volumes about what this team's all about this season. So,
yeah, I think someone like Michael Dunn stepping in.
Yeah.
As left guard. I think.
Baker's not turning the ball over. I've talked a lot about how he's managed.
Let's not talk about Baker not turning the ball over. Yeah.
Okay.
He's been very lucky for the last.
Paul, do you think that when I've written about it and looked at their plan for tomorrow and what happened in Pittsburgh, the Browns really took advantage. Their defense took advantage of getting all those turnovers. And throughout the season, if the Browns can win that battle of turnovers, I feel like that's a real key to what we see with them having that kind of success. Do you agree with that? I mean, do you think that's a big part of what we'll look for tomorrow when they play the Chiefs?
The one thing that I worried about the game against the Steelers is the NFL gods gave us a lot of luck.
Yes.
So coming into this game, we've had our luck in the last game. So
yes,
that's what kind of worries me is that we took a lot of luck in the last game.
Okay.
So we can't think that we're going to be so lucky in this game. We've got to go out and match their offense like for like.
Yes.
And then our defense has to step up and win the game for us.
Do you think it's important for the Browns to try to control the clock tomorrow more than they did last week, or
too dangerous?
Okay.
I feel that you've got to win the game
aggressively.
You've got to play to win the game to the last second against the Kansas City Chiefs because they are Super Bowl champions.
Yes,
with potentially the best offense in the NFL. There's no way that you can just try and manage the clock.
Are you feeling a win tomorrow for the Browns? Or are you feeling like
Johnny, I'm never going to not root for the Browns. So the Browns are going to win 35-34. But
okay, 35-34. All right. Well, that's great. No, now the other thing, I just on a side note, I a lot of I've seen on your social media platforms, you do a lot of cooking, and I saw earlier today you were talking about doing Kansas City barbecue as your snack tomorrow.
I've seen it a lot. wings in different parts of the country. So I tried Googling it, and there is recipe for Kansas City wings.
Yes.
So I asked, is there anything special or different? They sound to be a little bit more sweeter than Buffalo.
Yes,
wings.
I think some of the different places, they have different tastes. St. Louis, down there in Texas. Have you traveled around? I mean, other places? You've been to other cities in the U.S. for other Browns games. I take it.
Yeah, I've been to Arizona. I've been to Denver, Jets, Giants.
Okay.
Where else have I been? Patriots.
Yeah.
And I've done all our divisional games. Steelers.
Yes.
Baltimore. Bengals. Now,
when it comes to players and coaches, have you had an opportunity to meet any of these folks on your travels, or any Browns?
I can't kiss and tell too much, but yeah, I've met a handful of the Browns players.
Nice, good. Well, I had written all these notes down, and I found out tomorrow that the Browns are playing they're going to be wearing their white jerseys and blue or orange bottoms. Are you excited about that?
Whatever they wear. I think white and orange pants is our winning combo.
Yes.
I think Baker Mayfield, he has a great game tomorrow. He'll be up for it tomorrow, and this is probably one of his biggest games in his career.
Yeah, where do you put Baker? I mean, on your obviously when you think back about all the other Browns quarterbacks recently, he's at the top probably. But do you see him being the guy, being that quarterback for the Browns for the next 5 years?
I see Sean DeKaiser, then Baker. No, I'm joking. Cody Kessler.
Yeah, Cody Kessler.
And then Baker Mayfield. No. I see Baker Mayfield as a top 10 quarterback.
Okay.
He has got the luxury of the best O-line in the league.
Oh, he does. Absolutely. Jack Conklin, Wyatt Teller. Yep.
So
it'll be nice to have Bitonio back too. I'm sorry.
Yeah, how would he do in another roster? We've seen Brady go from the Pats to the Bucks.
Yeah.
And he's now a playoff team,
Right.
Could Baker Mayfield go to Jacksonville and be a top 5 quarterback? I don't think so.
Right. No, I agree.
Prove me wrong, Baker, but I see him as a top 10 quarterback. I think he's estimated, but this is the second playoff game and people are now starting to talk about him. So
yeah. Very good. Well, I like the Browns running game. Obviously, I think Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt as that tandem are very strong, and and our offensive line, like you mentioned, we'll see what happens. I think our defense really needs tomorrow to pick up on those turnovers again.
Yeah, if we got 5 turnovers, we won the game.
That's right.
Can I see it happen tomorrow? No. Would I like it to happen tomorrow? Yes.
Yeah. Well, tomorrow I'm actually talking to a few Kansas City Chiefs fans. I mentioned earlier I lived out there in Kansas for 20 some years, and they're joining me on another podcast for that. So I'm anxious to hear what their take is. I think they're a little nervous out there in Kansas.
Really?
But just a smidge. I think it's because the Chiefs haven't, like, Patrick Mahomes hasn't played in 3 weeks, and they've got a few injuries. Sammy Watkins, I know he's not a huge factor this year, but I think they're a little nervous. I don't think they're that nervous, but not having played in this span of time, the Browns coming off a big win. We'll see what happens, but it would be nice if they could put the ball over the head of Patrick Mahomes tomorrow to start the game, just like they did against Big Ben and the Steelers. But
yeah, I think we've got an advantage. We've got a better O-line than them. We've got a better running game than them.
Yes. I was on another podcast the other day, and they were talking about Browns fan was thinking that the Browns need to at least have 200 rushing yards somehow combined to help kind of that if we had that, we would control the time on the clock and not necessarily, stall or try to play not to win, but they think that the number 200 or 225 is important. I don't know if you look at stats as closely as this person I was listening to, but
yeah, I'm not a stat analytical guy. I enjoy looking at some of them, but I believe all stats can be manipulated.
Are you happy to have Stefanski back on the field for tomorrow's game? Will that?
Yeah, it's great to see, but I think the last game proved that he's more powerful with his processes rather than his presence.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more with that. That's really, yeah, it's true. Well, now with your cooking and everything that you're doing. So tomorrow, are you going to do your cooking your Kansas City wings? Will you do that online, or like will people be able to?
I think I'm going to do that tomorrow online at some point. And I'm struggling to find the sugar. There's a word that I've never heard before. It's
what is it called?
It begins with M, and it's a sugar syrup.
Molasses?
I think that's it. Yeah. So
okay. Well, I like your Asian chicken take. You had what, ketchup?
Yeah. I'm gonna try it. There's a thing called pomegranate.
Pomegranate. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a pomegranate
my wife's
syrup that I've got.
The pomegranate.
So I may try that.
Have you ever gotten a pomegranate before? I've never seen one until recently.
They're very healthy for you Americans. I don't think you'd use them that well.
Well, Paul, it's been great to have you on this evening for you.
Johnny, you haven't told me what's your score prediction yet.
What's my okay? Well, I was thinking about this earlier. I kind of gave a prediction earlier in the week. I'm going to go with Browns 21, Chiefs 20.
Jesus Christ, John, that's a low scoring game.
Well, I just have this feeling like both teams are going to be.
The weather's fine as well.
What now?
The weather's fine. Where's this low scoring game come from?
Well, I'm doing the opposite. Like if I this is my score for today. I have this sense like the Browns are going to be down a touchdown, and I'm knocking on wood here, but that Baker is going to he's going to command a drive with about 5 or 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and they're going to take the lead very late. And our defense, which has relied on turnovers, is either Myles Garrett or somebody's going to cause havoc in the backfield, and the Browns are going to get like a tip ball with like a minute and a half to go, and Browns win it. So
I see it totally different to you. I see a Browns win at halftime, and then a very nerve-wracking third quarter, fourth quarter, and the Browns do it.
So you think they're going to have the lead?
Missing a kick in the last second of the game.
The Chiefs are going to miss one?
Yeah.
So the Browns are going to have the lead at half, kind of like we did against Pittsburgh, but not as great. And then we're just going to kind of hang on.
And the Chiefs are going to kick it. And the NFL gods are going to go.
That's right.
And hit a post.
And then where do we go next week then? Will we go to Buffalo or will we go to Baltimore? What do you think on that game?
I'm afraid to say.
I know where you're going with this.
I think we're going to the Ravens.
Yes. Would that not be monumental? We won't want to project and think beyond that, but considering what has happened with our Browns and how they tore our team away from us back in the mid 90s, to have them go to Baltimore, I think that would just be like the icing on the cake for this season, that you were to play Baltimore and then, go to the big game.
I'm so happy if we play the Bills and lose. Fair enough. We lost, okay?
Right.
Losing to the Ravens, that's going to hurt.
Oh, yeah. No, I had the chance to go to the game Monday night last month back in December when the Browns played the Ravens. And that was tremendous. It was back and forth. The defenses were pretty non-existent, and Baker and Lamar Jackson could run up and down the field pretty much the whole game. It was just who's going to have the ball last in that game. So
I went to Baltimore 2 seasons ago, and the Browns were losing at halftime.
Yes.
I got into the airport, and there was a chance that we were going to win the game, but we flopped it. But I was in the airport, and I was going absolutely crazy that we were going to win the game. I think I nearly got chucked out of the airport. But
Was that game in Baltimore? You said it was in Baltimore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I turned up at the airport. I turned up at the airport and I had to fly. I buy cheap flights. So that means I have to buy 2 flights to get to Baltimore. And I arrived in Baltimore drunk as a skunk. I was like wasted.
Right.
And I turned up at the British Airways desk and she goes, Paul Brown, we've been waiting for you. I was like, oh no. Am I going to get arrested or what? And she goes, good news. We've put you on a direct flight back to London. I was like, happy days. So I then went to the bar and we were on a comeback. And literally people were throwing food at me in the bar. And I was going, come on the Browns. And all these Baltimore fans were absolutely going nuts. But yeah, it was... I had to leave at half time because they flexed the game. It was one of the late games in the season.
Yeah, yeah.
So really, I only had a quarter. And I flew into Baltimore for 20 hours.
Yes.
The flights were like $300 and I could, but then they moved the flights and it moved the game. And yeah, it was all messy. And I didn't have a ticket to the game. But anyway, I got a ticket to the game.
You got a ticket. Okay. That's what I was going to. So
yeah. You always get, this is my top tip. You always get a ticket to the game. Don't even worry about tickets. That's my rule. So,
right. Should I ask how you got into the game or
no? But no, there's always a way in.
Yes. Well, it's been a pleasure to have you on, and
that's great. And I'll finish off with one more drink. But yeah. Has the Packers game started yet or not?
I think it's the Packers and I haven't looked recently at the scores. I don't know if I've got.
Last question for you. Then is. Next year, we've got 4 picks in the first 3 rounds, 2/3, a first and a second.
Okay.
I just want to highlight to everyone, we've got very late first round picks.
We do. We're good this year. So, what a surprise.
What 4 positions do you think we should draft?
Okay. So, I'm going to go with linebacker.
First round pick?
No, not a first round pick. How about a corner again? Probably, we got Greedy Williams on the side that he hasn't, these guys haven't stepped in yet.
He's been injured, but it proves that we need more cornerbacks.
Oh yeah. Corners. Yeah, I like the corner idea. We've got our tight ends. We've got everything offensively. Do you see any weakness on the offense other than maybe another offensive lineman?
I would go wide receiver, not first.
Okay.
I would go this actually. This defensive end, the best defensive end, unless something freak happens, first round.
Yeah.
Second round, cornerback. Defensive end, cornerback, first round.
Yeah.
Safe, good picks.
Yeah.
First 2 rounds, whatever happens, them 2. And then 3rd round, I would go wide receiver, lineback.
Okay. Who do you like as wide receiver? Are you following that on the? I haven't looked a lot at the.
I'll give you my opinion when the Browns are picking a quarterback, but I don't follow college well enough to give a.
Were you a Johnny Manziel fan when he got drafted?
I wasn't a Browns fan then.
Okay.
What I've heard of Johnny Manziel and the stories, hell yeah, I'd have gone for him. He was a Heisman winner, wasn't he? So
he was quite the character. I think a
great character, and maybe our coaching wasn't the right place for him.
Well, I think a lot of people have compared Johnny like a little bit with Baker. There's been some of that because Baker came out of the Big 12 out in Oklahoma. What's interesting is, Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield played against each other in college. Baker was a transfer from Texas Tech. He went to Oklahoma, and then they had that big game back in 2015 where
16.
Was it 16? Yeah. And they threw for like a bazillion yards. And I think Oklahoma won. It was in the high 50s, like 50 something to 50 something. but I'm anxious to see how that kind of, I was at the game 2 years ago when the Chiefs played the Browns in Cleveland. I don't know. That was in 2018, and the Chiefs won that game, 38-21. That was when Baker had just started, and Greg Williams, the Browns coach, had just kind of taken over.
I'm a big Greg Williams fan.
Are you?
Yeah.
Were you surprised? So you were wanting him to stay instead of letting him go at the end of that season, because they got on a pretty good win streak.
Yeah. So my view was keep it exactly the same for next season.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Greg Williams is the head coach.
Right.
And Freddie is the OC.
Right. Yep.
I think Freddie would have stayed. Doesn't matter if anyone came after him. He had Baker. It was his opportunity to prove himself as an OC.
Right.
I feel we were pressured in making Freddie the head coach.
Yes.
And everything that we saw, every Browns fan would have agreed. And everyone did.
Yep. Yeah.
So I don't like it when people say, "Oh, Freddie wasn't this, Freddie wasn't that." We all backed him,
We did. Yeah, I was a big Freddie fan.
He actually turned up for a fundraiser I did.
Did he?
Massive guy, really tall guy.
Really?
A lot bigger in real life.
Alabama, right? For a while, Paul? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did a fundraiser in Cleveland with someone who had cancer.
Yeah.
And I said to Freddie Kitchens as a joke on TV, I look forward to seeing Freddie Kitchens tomorrow. And he turned up.
He showed up.
Yeah.
And that's impressive.
Very impressive. So I liked Hugh Jackson as a person.
Uh-huh.
I like Freddie Kitchen more.
Hugh Jackson came off to me like he knew more than the common fan, like or even his fellow coaches, like he was above that. You didn't get that feel when you met him?
So with Hugh, I liked him. I wanted him to do well, but I've never liked the way that he has distanced himself from the Cleveland Browns.
Yes.
Like, he picked the Steelers to beat the Browns. And he's got no loyalty to the Steelers. Nothing.
Right.
Bengals, I understand. So why not just put your, just say the Browns win, But no, he chooses Steelers. Right. And things like that upset me. So, my love for Hugh Jackson is going very, very fast. And he managed in London for the London Monarchs when NFL Europe was a big thing.
Oh, okay.
So, he obviously came to London with the Browns. And so I've always been pro Hugh Jackson, but very recently I've gone a lot more off that because, if I was the Browns manager, I would never go and work for the Steelers. Just saying how it is.
Oh, right. I don't think people like a lot of people coming into this game against the Steelers. There was a lot of talk about, especially the young fan of the Browns. They haven't seen the Browns and the Steelers as being that big of a rivalry. But I grew up, in the 70s and 80s, and I've always looked at the Steelers as being the rivalry with the Browns. But so it's been kind of nice to see, us now beating the Steelers twice. I think it's kind of added a little bit more oomph again to that rivalry, especially for the young people.
Like Hayden, for example, he could have joined anyone. He joined the Steelers. And I get maybe his family are in Ohio, which is close to Steelers and blah, blah, blah. But I personally wouldn't make that move. And I'm sure if the Steelers want to hire you, Jacksonville Jaguars want to hire you as well. So, retire in the nice warmth in Jacksonville, not Steelers.
So in London now, the NFL brings these games to you. Now, the idea of London getting an NFL team is still out there. Is that something that, would you, if a team came to London, would you become a fan of theirs as well? Could you root for both?
Probably one thing the Americans don't really understand about the British is extreme loyalty. Now, I like that. if someone from Cleveland moved to New York, they
Yes.
may become a Jets fan. If it
Not
was an
me.
English person,
Not me.
that would never happen.
Right.
You're a Browns fan. You're a Browns fan. So
I think Browns fans. I don't know, Paul, where you rate it, but I mean, I write a lot about it in my articles. I just think we're a very loyal fan base. The article I wrote about the friends and family of mine that live out in Kansas. You're 1,000 miles away from Cleveland out there, and there's a group of 40 guys that show up every Sunday at a sports bar, and they bark and howl, and even if they're 0-16, it doesn't matter. They still show up.
Yeah, let's be clear about this. I think 99% of Browns fans are super loyal.
Yes.
Probably 99.9.
Yeah.
But like some people say, "Oh, I've got a second team. Steelers are my second team." I'm like, what type of fan are you? You can't have a second team. Or
You don't have a second team. What's that all about?
You're 100% Browns or nothing. So, but a lot of Cleveland guys go to Carolina or, and their second team is the Panthers. I'm like, no, it's like, you're a Browns fan.
Do you follow basketball much like LeBron James?
Yeah, I know LeBron. Yeah.
Have you met him?
I've never met him, no, but I know of LeBron James and friends of friends and blah blah blah. But I've never met him. I've never spoken to him.
Well, I just like he was a Cleveland. He grew up here in Akron and then became brought us the championship here in Cleveland for the Cavs, and then has moved out to Los Angeles again to play for the Lakers. But I hear a lot of fans who still are very loyal to LeBron. Like they say, well, now I'm a Laker fan. So it's like,
yeah, that's annoys me. That really annoys me.
Right there.
Like if Mayfield went to Jacksonville and then you lost some Browns fans, fair enough. They're not Browns fans, but like, come on, it's stupid, like,
right.
I don't see anyone changing their team, unless there's a real good reason. I understand. This is crazy. Yeah. I would get it if you're in Baltimore and you're a Browns fan, and then Baltimore Browns moved to Baltimore. I get it. I wouldn't support Baltimore Ravens. I'd support the Browns, but I get that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. No, I wrote a very scathing article about why we loathe the Ravens as Browns fans. Because of how they, and particularly Art Modell and moving the team. That was very harsh, especially. And, the whole thing even going way back with Art Modell with the Paul Brown and how he fired Paul Brown, not you, but the other older Paul Brown. So, hey man, it's been great to have you on the show.
Yeah. Just finish up on that point is, one thing about that is that, Cleveland's super lucky because, unlucky that they moved to the Baltimore, but it's great they got a team back.
Yes.
Some cities have lost their franchise forever, so.
Yes. I wonder what will happen, like, with the teams like Oakland now moving back to Vegas, and St. Louis used to have a team.
I can't see Oakland having a team again.
No. Do you think, the idea though, the NFL moving overseas, do you think that's going to happen?
No.
Okay.
And this is probably one thing that Americans don't get is that when we go and watch the international series, so Browns versus the Vikings, the reason why it's not like America is because you've got 32 different teams being supported in the stadium.
Right.
And okay, it's great. It's like a World Cup soccer experience.
Yes.
It's not like, okay, I'm here to watch the game. I'm here to watch a World Cup.
Right.
I walked out of an international series game after 15 minutes because I was like, this is boring. And I just didn't, I think it was something like Chargers versus, I can't even remember, but
you'd rather get on a plane and go to Baltimore and watch the Browns play
10 times more. And that was my thing. It was like, this ticket's cost me $50. So if I buy 4 tickets to watch the 4 games in London,
yes,
I prefer to go and watch the Browns play
Absolutely.
To Baltimore 4 times as much. So
well, Paul, it would be. I would love if you come to Cleveland. I would love to meet you. I know many. You have many fans out there.
Yeah, cool. And what I say to all Browns fans is, you'll find me every Browns game 7 o'clock in the morning in the Muni lot. So
excellent.
Come down, bring some Jägermeister, bring some what are they called, White Claws, and and we'll have a great time.
It's great. Are you so you got any special thing that you're doing tomorrow for the? I mean, you're going to do the barbecue. Anything else you got going before the big game tomorrow at 3 or your time?
No, I don't just wake up and see how I feel because.
Okay.
Yeah, Steelers beating the Steelers was our Super Bowl, our honeymoon, our Christmas. Tomorrow's gonna be a very relaxed game. I'm just gonna sit there, have a few drinks, relax. If we get beaten, we get beat.
But what if we're up again like 20-0 and you're like your projection of being up at halftime? Are you going to be a little bit more nervous going into that third and fourth quarter?
Hell no, because I think if they've got 3 touchdowns, it's half time. If they can do it, we can do it. So yeah,
right. Well, I really appreciate you, Paul, to come here and visit and enjoy your nice drink there. I'll finish my Diet Coke.
Yeah, next time we come on, make sure you're drinking alcohol, yeah?
Well, Paul, if you could come back to our show, I would love that. That would be just wonderful. I'll stay in touch with you. And if I can help out in anything, you let me know. And I'd love to visit with you more. So
excellent. Thanks a lot. And just want to finish up by saying, come on the Browns. Big win tomorrow.
Go Brownies.
Easy win tomorrow, yeah? Relaxed win.
Very good. Go Browns.
Thanks, care.
Paul. Take care. And remember, on the Johnny Cleveland podcast, to keep smiling. Take care.
If you haven't so far, make sure you subscribe and like Johnny's podcast.
That's right. Please subscribe to our podcast at J Cleveland Pod on Twitter and Facebook. Take care.
If you haven't given 5 stars yet, make sure you give 4. I'm joking. Give 5.
You can stay on, Paul. I'll be right. Hold on a second.